Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin touting the work of his state's Homeland Security Task Force, a federal-state partnership combating transnational crime and gang violence. In just about 3 months, more than 500 criminal illegal aliens were arrested, including over 130 gang members affiliated with terror groups MS-13 and Nicaragua. Attorney General Pam Bondi saying, quote, "This is the product of unprecedented collaboration between state and federal law enforcement entities working to protect Virginia's communities." Governor Youngkin adding, quote, "What's happening in Virginia is a model that should be replicated all across our country." Joining me now, Virginia Congressman Ben Cline. Congressman, walk us through what you, I'm assuming, believe is successful roundups that are happening in your state.
Absolutely. You know, we have a collaboration between state and federal law enforcement agencies. When they work together, we can actually control our immigration problem, address illegal immigration, secure our borders, and address crime at the same time. So our governor deserves the credit for the amazing numbers that we're seeing. Our new Attorney General, Pam Bondi, is doing a fantastic job. And we just need to spread this around the country, working together, and not have states become sanctuaries for illegal immigration and lawlessness and crime that some of these states, particularly on the West Coast, have become.
Well, I want to get to the business of the day with Washington, because Republicans are now debating how to pay for tax cuts included in President Trump's big, beautiful bill. Pennsylvania Congressman and House Chief Deputy Whip Guy Reschenthaler reacting on this program yesterday with us. Watch what he told me.
We got to remember that we're also getting a lot of savings from DOGE. So there's some estimates that DOGE can find almost $1 trillion worth of savings just through waste, fraud, and abuse. What that's going to do is it's going to give us a lot of room with a CBO score to go after some of the priorities that the president had on the campaign trail, whether it's no tax on tips, the other programs.
However, Pennsylvania Congressman Dan Muser doubling down on the millionaire's tax hike to pay for Trump's low and middle income tax cuts. He told Fox News Digital any adjustments in taxes to accomplish these goals should be considered. Here's what Muser told me on this program last Thursday. Watch.
The Tax Cut and Jobs Act under President Trump brought it to 37 for those on income levels over $750,000, I think it is. So by bringing it from the 37 as we're redoing the tax plan to perhaps 38.6, right? It would still be 1% less than it was before. Right? The president is determined not to have a standard, if you will, Republican, and this is my view from what I based upon him. I'm not putting words in his mouth. A standard Republican style budget. What he wants to see is something that is in the interest of all of America.
Congressman, would you support a millionaire's tax? As Congressman Muser was discussing there with me, would you support raising the corporate tax rate?
I would not. Some of my colleagues were talking about the ways in which we can extend the tax cuts that really drove the economic success that we saw in the first Trump administration. We're facing a huge tax increase on small businesses, on middle-class families at the end of this year if we don't extend these tax cuts. And so we're looking for ways to make savings through DOGE, increase revenues through tariffs. We're talking about a number of adjustments to spending, but we are not talking about increasing taxes on the American people. I think that's what voters wanted when they selected Donald Trump and Republican control of the House and the Senate last November. They're not looking for tax increases. They're looking to continue tax cuts and the president's agenda.
Well, I think the question mark, though, is there going to be enough savings from DOGE? We keep having lawmakers tell us that there's going to be enough waste, fraud, and abuse. But if you look at the 3 largest programs, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, that's the bulk of the problem. So I'm trying to understand here, you know, if you're talking about tariffs, that's also many consider a tax.
Well, we are not going to touch Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid for the most vulnerable. Are we going to make adjustments to Medicaid so we implement things like work requirement? That's what the Energy and Commerce Committee is considering right now. The budget that we put forward, and I'm on the Budget Committee, in the House is going to achieve about $2 trillion in savings. And then the growth from the tax cuts is going to provide an additional boost in growth and revenue to the tune of about $2 trillion. So we're going to be able to pay for the $4.5 trillion in tax cuts that we provided for in the House bill. Anything additionally from DOGE, anything additionally from tariffs, that's gravy on top of the savings that we're going to come out with in our committees of jurisdiction here in the next couple of weeks.
Well, I want to hit Medicaid with you then, because Republican lawmakers also have been considering a plan to save money by rolling back some federal funding to the states for Medicaid. Not everybody is on board. Watch this.
When the Dems expanded Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act, they made that percentage match 90-10. So what we have talked about is moving that 90% level of the expansion back towards the more traditional levels of 50. Nobody would be kicked off of Medicaid as long as the governors decided that they wanted to continue to fund the program.
A state like New York would have to pay more for Medicaid and that the federal government would pay less. Do you have a position on that before you go?
Hell no. New York is a donor state. We pay more into the federal government than we get back. I'm adamantly opposed to changing the FMAP floor from 50% federal share to 45% federal share. That will be a hard no.
Congressman, your reaction to that?
Well, that's the reason Republicans are in the majority, because we have a very diverse caucus that comes together from all different parts of the country, and we have different ideas about how these solutions should be achieved. But neither my friend from Georgia nor my friend from New York are on the Energy and Commerce Committee. So Congressman Lawler's on Financial Services. He's got important work to do on that committee. Congressman Scott is on the Agriculture Committee. They have important work to do on that committee. So when the folks from Energy and Commerce come out with a proposal, I'm looking forward to seeing it and supporting it, because ultimately this is about delivering on the Trump agenda, making sure that we provide those tax cuts, extend those tax cuts, and make sure we pay for them with appropriate cuts and savings and growth in the economy moving forward.
Well, with the slim majority, we're going to see how this all plays out. We're going to be watching all of it. Congressman Ben Cline, thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you.